I do have one extremely important life update that I wanted to give in this video. Hey, I'm Emma, aka Midsummer Knits Dream, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I make videos about knitting and fiber arts content, and I would really appreciate it if you checked out my channel and gave me a subscribe if you liked it. In today's video, I thought we could do a chill little knit and chat sort of thing. All the videos I posted at this point have sort of been like really themed videos where I'm posting about one specific thing and explaining it. And in today's video, I just thought it'd be fun to do a chill little knit and chat sort of podcast thing, as many people call it. I just wanted to post a video giving you guys like an update on my projects, where I'm at with life. I wanted to do a video that was not so specifically themed and just allowed me to talk a little bit and hang out with you guys. While I'm talking, I will be working on my 8 p.m. tank. I've talked about this in so many videos, and I'm honestly surprised that I'm still working on it. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll probably know that I was really excited about this tank top for a bit, and then I had to frog it, and then I sort of took a break from it to work on other projects. I'm back to it now. It's been a couple of weeks, and I had to frog it again last night, and I'm sort of in a spot at this point where I'm thinking, if this last attempt, this is my now third attempt to do these cups, doesn't really work out, then I might just frog the entire thing, which is not really a fun place to be in with a project. But because I'm doing that whole don't start any new projects until I've completed all my current projects, this is the last project that I actually have to complete at this point. So I'm sort of forcing myself to work through this tricky part. And honestly, I did put off working on this for quite a while. I've been working on a couple of other things, and I completed both of those and also knit a bunch of hexagons, basically avoiding this project. So I think that me forcing myself to work on all my whips has actually been a positive thing based on that. I do think to some extent, if you're really dreading a project, it's totally okay to take a break from it, but I've just been taking a break from this project for a little bit too long, and I'm really excited to get back to it and just figure out what I'm doing. Even if I have to frog it at this point, I'm kind of ready to be done with it one way or another. And by the way, I don't mean that to be a drag on the design or the designer. I think this is a really gorgeous design, and the designer, Tiffany Tai, I really like all of her designs that she's put out so far. This is the first one that I'm actually knitting, so just basing that off of how they look, I think they're really gorgeous. And the pattern is well written, but I've just been struggling with getting sort of the perfect fit on my own body, and I think that has been because of multiple issues, measuring my body wrong and various other things. So I'm definitely at the point with this project where I'm coming to a crossroads with it and trying to decide if I want to continue it or not, and that is sort of on me, just on my own inability to get this project working the way that I want it to, and hopefully we'll figure it out soon, maybe by the end of today. We'll see. I'm actually gonna adjust this camera really quickly so I can actually get my knitting in a little bit better. All right, that's better, right? Yeah. One more thing I forgot to mention is that you might not recognize this filming background. I am testing out filming in a different room, so this is basically our guest room slash office. I know the background is a little bit boring. I have a little plant back there and then some of my hexagons in a jar, which I think is kind of cute. But yeah, the background is pretty plain because this is a room that basically we had a roommate who just moved out to go to grad school, and so we've turned his room into an office slash guest room, and so we haven't really had too much of a chance to decorate it or anything yet. And I'm hoping I can put some more like stuff in the background, make it a little bit cuter for filming. But I think I'll probably be filming in this room going forward, so I hope you guys enjoy the background. Anyways, okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about in today's video is just where I'm at with all of my current whips and FOs. I basically realized I haven't given an update since I posted the video about not starting any new whips and not buying any new stash. So first of all, I just wanted to say that that is going pretty well. I completed 2 projects out of the 3 whips that I had when I made that video. So I completed the Groovy tank, which I made an entire video about, talking about my design process, how things went, showing my progress along the way. So that is something that I had been working on since February or March, basically. And that is my own first attempt at a garment design. So that had been in progress for a super long time. It was a tricky project for many reasons, and that caused me to take a lot of time off from the project and just avoid working on it. And I'm really, really glad that I finished it. I love how it came out. That project, by the way, has gotten so much love on social media. I posted it on Instagram and Reddit. I post a lot of my knitting on Reddit. I posted it on there and also on Ravelry, and it just got so many likes and comments and people saying, I want to knit this, I want to test knit this, and I'm really blown away by the response. So thank you so much if you commented, if you left a like, any of the above. I really appreciate it. This is my first garment design, as I said, so it really sort of blew me away to see how great the response was to that and how many people wanted to knit it, and that made me a lot more excited to work on the pattern as well. So I have filmed a couple of various clips of me talking about this, but I was a little bit conflicted about when to put out the pattern because I'm definitely not going to have the pattern finished until maybe winter at the earliest, which is not the season for it because it's a tank top. I've really gone back and forth about whether I should put out the pattern as soon as it's done or wait until it's a little bit more in season, and just seeing how excited people are about this pattern makes me want to work on it and put it out sooner. At the same time, I am still conflicted, so I'll let you guys know what I end up deciding on, but at the time being, I haven't actually written the pattern yet. I need to put in some work into that probably this week and just make some progress in getting that pattern out eventually. But for the time being, as I said, I really appreciate all the kind comments and shares and everything. And yeah, I was really excited to finish that one. It's been such a long time coming, and I'm so glad that I forced myself to sit down and work on these whips, because if not, I feel like it would have been another 3 months before I finished it. So that was really great, and I was really excited to see that. And for now, I need to pick up stitches, which is going to take a little bit more focus from me. So I will quickly do a time lapse of me doing that and come back to give you the rest of the update. Okay, I'm done picking up stitches, so back to my updates. So I completed the Groovy Tank, as I mentioned, and that was definitely my most exciting info that I wanted to share. I also completed my friend's commission, which I talked about in my No More Buying Yarn video. To give a TLDR, if you didn't watch that video, my friend asked me to knit her stuffed animal a sweater. It's a sweater that Jin from BTS wore, and it was just like a really cute little project. I don't normally do commissions, but this is just something that my friend asked for, and I did it partially as a favor to her. And I think it came out super cute. I haven't actually seen it on her stuffed animal yet because I just mailed it off to her, but I'll put in some clips of the sweater that I took after I completed it, and it was just like a cute little project. Again, this was a project that I kind of put off for a little bit. I don't know why. That's not really the best thing to do when you're working on commissions because, you know, if someone paid you to knit something, they normally want it done in a timely amount of time. And to be honest, I didn't do the best job of that, but I'm just glad to have it done at this point. In a general sense, I don't think that knitting commissions will be my thing going forward. This one time knitting it for a friend was fun and I enjoyed it, but I think that knitting on a deadline, and especially for someone who paid you to do it, just feels a little bit stressful to me. It kind of takes the fun out of it, of just being able to make whatever I want and enjoying it. So I probably won't be doing too many of those going forward, but I'm glad I completed it and I hope that she likes it. And so now that brings me back to my third work in progress, which is the APM tank. And like I said in that video, this is the last work in progress that I have to complete before I can sort of allow myself to start on new projects again. I have been reflecting a little bit on this decision to not buy any yarn stash and not start any new projects, and I think it has been good for me. Like I said, I was able to finish both of those whips that I've been putting off for quite a while and get back on this one as well. And that has felt really good. I think that you have to sort of know yourself and know whether you want to place a sort of restriction on you before you do it, because I don't think that it's a good thing to totally take all the joy out of knitting and just be forcing yourself to complete every single whip even if you don't want to. But I think in my case, I had just gotten to a breaking point of being tired of avoiding all these projects, and I just wanted to be done with them in one way or another, whether it meant finishing them or completely frogging them. And I'm getting to that close to that point now where I'm going to be done with all of them, and it feels really satisfying. I would recommend you consider doing something like this if you feel like you're at that breaking point too, but otherwise I think it's okay to have a few whips and, you know, not take knitting too seriously, because I do still really enjoy knitting. I honestly have felt like I'm in a bit of a knitting rut recently, just with those last few projects and even the last couple of projects before that. It's felt like I've had to frog basically everything once or twice before I can complete it, which is really frustrating. I think part of that is just that I've been knitting a lot of tight-fitting summery tops, so in the case of anything really tight-fitting, it really just has to fit you properly. And I know that I'm very particular about fit specifically. There are definitely people out there who would just continue on with these projects without frogging them, and total respect to them. I'm not trying to diss on them in any way, but for me, I just am such a perfectionist that if the fit is not perfect, I'll probably want to rip it out and redo and make sure that it fits me properly. And for that reason, I'm a little bit excited for knitting some sweaters and some of the sort of autumn and winter knitting. I'm really excited to knit some like slightly looser fitting sweaters that have a little bit of positive ease, so I just don't have to worry so much about, is this fit completely perfect? If it's something that's meant to be a little bit oversized on me, then I just don't have to be that concerned with if the fit is perfect. And in that case, I'm hoping I won't have to frog as much, knock on wood. And yeah, I have some exciting design ideas for fall and winter, and I also have lots of pattern ideas that I want to take on. So we'll see how much I'm able to get done. But I'm really excited for just starting on a different season of knitting. You know what, it's actually funny. I just sat here and thought about what I want to knit next. And the next two things I have tentatively on my queue are actually still tank tops. So we'll see if I actually get into fall knitting or not anytime soon. I also live in San Francisco, so it truly does not get all that cold here. The weather is like fairly temperate year round. It's sort of like in the 60s or 70s. So I don't really have a need to make super cozy sweaters or anything, but I think it can just be fun to get into more of a fall or winter vibe. And honestly, most of the time when I'm here, I either will wear a tank top with a jacket on top, or I can just wear a sweater. So truly I feel like I have the freedom to just knit whatever I want year round. One more thing is that I tend to go home to the East Coast for Christmas. So I guess it is nice to have some wintry knits for when I'm there. But yeah, truthfully, I don't really need to knit sweaters. I just think that it's kind of fun to get into more of a fall and winter spirit. So just to touch briefly on what is next in my knitting queue, there is this tank top that one of my friends, Annalise, made. Her username on Instagram is nitty-gritty, and it is a crochet granny square tank top. So by the way, I recently realized that I just absolutely love the look of granny squares. There's so many projects I've saved that are just a bunch of granny squares seamed together, which I think is convenient because that's definitely an easier crochet project for me to take on as a very novice crocheter. But I really loved this top that she made. It's like a halter top where basically you have the granny squares seamed together, but they're going diagonally across your body as opposed to just being horizontal and vertical. I will include a picture of her tank top if she says it's okay. But basically she made this from a vintage pattern, and I believe you can find the vintage pattern on Etsy. I will try to link it below if I can find it. But I really thought this was a really, really gorgeous project, and I wanted to try and take it on. I haven't really done a totally crochet project, at least not in a super long time. I did a couple of smaller things when I was younger, but as an adult, I've never really done a full crochet project. That's going to be a fun challenge, but I also hope that there's not so many fit issues as sort of the things I've been dealing with my knitting, just because it's a bunch of granny squares seamed together, and I think it has sort of like a halter and tie back, so I think it will be much easier to achieve a good fit, just in that if it's a little bit too big, I can subtract a granny square or add one, and if it's a tie back, I can literally just tie it as tight or as loose as I want to make it fit me. So I'm hoping that will be a little bit of a break from sort of the issues I've been having with knitting, as you guys know. I also just think it's a really gorgeous design, and I think I'm gonna use some of my yarn that I have in my stash. So I have this set of fades that my mom gave me in an advent calendar for Christmas, and so it has a lot of greens, blues, and purples all in fingering weight yarn, and I think that would be really, really gorgeous for this design. I also talked about using that yarn for potentially a patchwork cardigan or something, but I think there is quite a lot of that yarn, so it might be possible for me to make both of them, or I might be able to make, you know, this in addition to some other tank top. So I think just because I'm feeling really inspired by this right now and I want to try it out, I'll probably just attempt to do it and then figure out what to do with the remaining yarn. And I think there will still be a good bit of yarn remaining because that's quite a large fade set. So maybe not enough for a cardigan, but probably enough for another tank top or something that I can make. And one more thing to mention about this pattern is that it is a vintage pattern. So I've only looked at it a tiny bit, but from what I can see, it only has one size. So just an FYI, if you do want to buy that pattern, that there's only one size offered, and I think you can honestly just customize it by adding or subtracting granny squares. So I don't think that you should completely avoid the pattern if you think it wouldn't accommodate your size, but I do want to mention that it's not really size inclusive, and you'd have to sort of customize things yourself if you wanted to make it. I don't know, it's actually not even for fingering weight yarn, but just because I figure it will be easy to customize, I'm gonna go ahead and try it out. So that is the first thing that's in my queue. The next thing that is in my queue is actually to make another Groovy tank. So I want to make a second sample, basically to adjust some details and just get the pattern figured out better. And for that one, I actually am planning to buy yarn. So I know I said I wouldn't buy any yarn before the end of the year, but in my mind, I sort of had this loophole of if I really need some new yarn for a design, then I'm going to allow myself to buy that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and allow myself to buy that. So basically, I'm just not allowing myself to buy any new yarn for projects that I'm going to make that are not my designs, which I know might be a little bit ridiculous, but I am a really new designer and I'm really excited about trying to get some designs out, so I don't want to be holding off until the end of the year just because I want to wait until I've passed my self-enforced deadline of not buying new yarn to be able to release this design or even work on a second sample. So in my mind, that's an okay thing to have a loophole for, and so I'm gonna go ahead and buy some yarn. I'm thinking my second version, I might want to do it in like a rust orange sort of color. I think that would be really pretty. The first one was in a dark purple, and I've honestly been so conflicted about what color to do for my second version, but I think I've settled on the rust orange. I think that'd be just like a really gorgeous color for fall, and it would contrast enough with the first version I made to the point where people could see sort of like different options of what it would look like in different colors, and I could potentially even take photos of the two of them together, and I think they would look pretty. So I think that's probably the color I'm gonna go for. I just need to decide what yarn I'm using and buy some. And yeah, for that one I'm also going to do it a bit more cropped just to save a little bit of time and to show how the design can be different depending on how long you want to knit before the bust. So I'm gonna do a little bit more of like a bralette in the rust color, and I'm really, really excited for that one too. By the way, one more random thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that I realized my YouTube videos have been getting steadily longer. So the first video I posted, I think it was like 13 or 14 minutes. I'll have to go back and check exactly how long it was, but it was definitely not anywhere near 20 minutes. And then the last few videos I've been posting have been 20 minutes. And I've been sort of struggling to cut them down to what I feel like is a reasonable length. So I am actually curious to hear from you guys. Do you like longer videos? Do you like sort of a length where you can sit and knit for a good bit, like 20 or 25 minutes even? Or do you like sort of these like shorter and snappier videos to the point where you can put on a couple of different ones in a knitting session? I actually don't know how long this specific video I'm filming right now is going to be, but I think it could be on the shorter side. Editing Emma, tell me if I'm right. But yeah, I think that looking back at my videos, I don't have that large of a sample to compare it to, but I do think that the slightly shorter ones did better. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not really all about the statistics, but I would like to hear just from you guys who watch and enjoy my videos if you prefer slightly shorter or slightly longer videos, and I'd be happy to try and accommodate that. Another thing is I just have a lot of things to talk about sometimes. Like I just sit here and rant in front of my camera for 5 minutes, so that's why I end up having 20-minute long videos. And you know, I want to be open to that, but I'd be interested just to hear what you guys think in terms of video length, what videos you're normally drawn to, and yeah, also let me know if you have any specific videos you'd like to see. This is my first time posting a very casual vloggy sort of video where I don't even have a specific topic in mind. I'm just sort of sitting here talking about my knits and how things are going for me in life. And I really like watching these kinds of videos, honestly. So if you guys also like them, let me know. I can do a couple more of these. But otherwise, let me know if you have any other specific videos you'd like to see. I did really like filming the Groovy work in progress video where I was showing my progress with making the Groovy tank the entire time. But that does take a little bit more effort, just in that I need to film throughout the process of making it and sort of be explaining what I'm doing the entire time. I also don't have any other designs that I'm planning to make in the next like month or two, so I don't know if you guys would be interested to see that kind of video for just like a normal project that is not my design. Let me know. Let me know any videos you'd be interested in seeing. But yeah, I've got some fun ideas that I could potentially make in the future. Lots of them are sort of more chatty videos just because I think I enjoy sitting down and talking in front of the camera and knitting. It's kind of therapeutic for me. We'll see what I'll post in the future, but I am open to ideas, so let me know. Okay, I do have one extremely important life update that I wanted to give in this video, and that is that Taylor Swift liked my tweet. So if you guys are not interested in this, I'm going to put chapters in this video, and you can feel free to skip ahead, but I think some of you will be really interested in this. I've been DMing with a couple of people from Knitstagram, or just like the fiber art side of Instagram, and I've realized that a lot of you guys are also Swifties. So because I'm excited about this, I just wanted to give it as an update. And like I said, I won't be offended if you guys like skip ahead or anything, because I understand that not everyone is as big of a Taylor Swift fan as I am, but if you're at all interested, you know, I think this is kind of a cool story. So earlier this year, I actually made a Twitter account, which is basically dedicated to me tweeting about Taylor Swift. And in some ways I feel like I should find this embarrassing, and in a way I guess I'm being vulnerable by sharing this on here. But at the same time, I guess I don't really mind sharing it because it's just something that I'm really passionate about, the way I'm passionate about knitting, so I don't feel like I should be too embarrassed to share it on this channel. Yeah, so I joined the sort of Taylor Swift fan or Swiftie side of Twitter earlier this year, and I feel like I joined at a really good time because pretty soon after that, the VMAs happened and Taylor Swift won Video of the Year, Best Long Form Video, and Best Director, and that is when she announced her new album, which is called Midnights. And so that side of Twitter has been going absolutely insane over the past week or so since it's been announced. And I have been tweeting a bunch about it. I have been replying to Taylor Nation, which is basically Taylor's team who interacts with a lot of fans on Twitter, tweeting them about how I'm buying all the different vinyl variants and about how I'm super excited for the album and all this stuff. And one day when I was in a work meeting, I quickly checked my phone. I don't normally, you know, go on my phone a ton during work meetings, but I will occasionally look at it just because I work remotely and you can, you know, quickly check the time on your phone or whatever without totally interrupting meetings. And so I quickly checked my phone and I saw a notification that said Taylor Swift liked your tweet. And it had been a tweet just at Taylor Nation, which is Taylor's team, as I mentioned, talking about how I'm getting all of her vinyl variants and I'm really excited to put them up on the wall. By the way, what the vinyl variants just means it's a different pressing or basically a different color of vinyl. And I've been getting a little bit more into vinyl collecting recently, so I decided to just buy all of them, even though it was a lot of money to invest. But yeah, I'm really excited for those vinyl variants, just as an aside. So anyways, I saw a notification that said, Taylor Swift liked your tweet, and in my head I was thinking, this is probably not actually Taylor Swift. This is probably someone who set their display name to Taylor Swift and is just trying to mess with me, basically. I've seen people do this on TikTok and other places, and you know, I think it's a little bit rude, to be honest, but you know, in my head I was like, this is not actually Taylor Swift. It's probably just some random person who has their display name set to Taylor Swift and is, you know, trying to be funny. And so I was in this work meeting, but I just quickly clicked into the notification and saw that it was actually Taylor Swift. Anyways, at this point I was still in my work meeting, but I was fully freaking out. It was the last 5 minutes of the work meeting, so thankfully I didn't have to contribute anything meaningful anymore because I truly don't know what I would have done. I was just sitting there shaking and internally screaming that Taylor Swift had liked my tweet. And immediately after that meeting, I ran to tell my boyfriend and to FaceTime my friend who is also a huge Swiftie. And like, it was just so exciting. I can't even put into words how exciting it was as someone who's a really big fan of hers to just come on Twitter and see that she liked a random tweet of yours. Yeah, like I said, I'm a really huge fan of hers. I'm so excited for her new album. I could honestly talk about this for a whole video, so if any of you guys are interested in watching me talk about Taylor Swift for a whole video, I would love to make a video talking about my opinions in some way, although I don't have any specific video in mind. But yeah, I just had to tell that story because it was so exciting. I cannot believe that Taylor Swift knows I exist and has seen my face because she's seen my account. It still just like blows me away that she randomly chose to like my tweet out of all the fans out there. And yeah, I don't know how to put into words how exciting and crazy it is. She is such a huge artist. The fact that she even goes on Twitter and looks at fans' tweets is kind of insane to me. But the fact that she specifically chose to like mine is just absolutely mind-blowing. And yeah, I can't really put into words like how exciting it is for me or what it means to me, but I really, really appreciate it and it really blew me away. I know that's completely an unrelated story from my knitting, so welcome back if you skipped ahead of the Taylor Swift section and are now here. Alright, I just realized I don't really have anything else to talk about in this video, so that means I'm going to basically finish off my video with my story about Taylor Swift. And you know, that is not a bad way to go out. I'm pretty happy with it. Anyways, I have completed a few rows on my APM tank, so I'm hoping next week when you guys watch whatever video I make, I'll try to give an update. I'll either be on a good track or done with this, or I will have frogged completely. It's like Schrodinger's cat. I really don't know which one it'll be at this point, but I'm hoping for a good outcome. And anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed just hanging out and chatting with me a little bit and having a little bit more of a casual video. I would love it if you subscribed and give this video a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.